Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in this beautiful world and watching this video. I'm glad you're here. Today, I want to talk about Generation X and these solar flares, right? The solar flares on what is going on and how it affects this generation, particularly the Gen Xers, right? Last week, I did solar flares in the baby boomers. So, by all means, go back and check that out. I also have done several videos on flares. So if you're catching up with solar flares for the first time, go back and look at those other videos and see what you can learn from those as well. For this one, I want to focus specifically on those who were in Generation X born between 1964 and 1980. Okay, because this is the generation after the baby boomers. Some of you were raised by early stage baby boomers, or wow, even really, really young. What is it? The silent generation before the boomers who went through the war, um, uh, World War II. So just know that there's this cultural implementation that I talked about last week on the post World War II generations and this stamping of this rigid culture, right? And so, as the historian, that I wanted to set that marker because we're going to play with that today, because these solar flares have been increasing both in regularity, in intensity and size and strength, and in duration. For the first time with Pam Youngins, I've been seeing some, hey, this is a long duration, which means it's going to hit and it's going to hold for up to an hour and a half. That's different than what we've been seeing. So when these solar flares happen, they're electromagnetic pulses, waves that carry light codes from the sun. My information is that it comes through the galactic sun, through our sun, and that they hold light codes, right? So these codes of light that burst onto our planet are going to affect us, any sentient human, plant, animal, plant, anything that has a cellular structure, as well as the fields and grids within our earth. So our water, our plants, our pets, our bodies, ourselves are all going to be impacted. And from this last week, what I've noticed is that there's a lot of digestion issues, stomach, bowels, don't want to eat a lot. The things you used to eat don't feel very good. And so, what I'm going to put out there is that when these light codes hit our cells, they sort of burst the cells open a little bit, or bring them to life, and there's a lot of sloughing off of things that were inside our cells, things that are holding our cells, whether they're seen or unseen. These toxins are going down through our systems. So it's going to be really important to know that our digestion is going to be impacted. The process of detoxifying is going to be important. So we're going to need lots of liquids. Some of you have called and talked to me about sleep, not being able to sleep from between the hours of 3 and 6, joint pain, traditional headaches, migraines, ringing in the ears. I posted something on Facebook on the ringing of the ears. Thank you, Pam Youngins and Milt Foster for putting those out there. And a low level to high levels of anxiety and agitation. That's just been constant, absolutely constant, right? And so this is hitting us invisibly. And so, especially if you don't believe in this stuff, if you call it woo, if you don't, if like Denise is like taking a detour into la la land, whatever it is that you think is invisible, and so we can't really detect it. I'm a gatherer, right? I'm a gatherer of information, and I'm an educator, so I bring it into context for you so that you can integrate it. And one of the things that I'm noticing is these flares are important. They're much more important than we thought they were, and I want to keep putting them in front of us, right? Because we don't really know much about them, and there are resources, but you have to be able to find them. And I list resources in the bottoms of my videos and in my newsletters, and people that you can contact that I rely on to help translate what these flares are. Okay, so let's talk about Gen Xers and these flares, right? Because I believe this generation, your generation, is being hit harder by these flares than any of us. For us in baby boomers, we're watching everything that we held sacred sort of, oh, calling us to put it down and walk away. That's not the case with the Gen Xers, right? Because if you were born between 1964 and 1980, um, you were raised in that structure where you have parents or grandparents who are those post World War II, um, mm, rigid cultural norms. This is what it looks like to work. This is what you should have a house. You should have no interest, no credit cards. You should have low interest on your, should, right? Because these are the parameters that were established post World War II and what we're living in. So the part that I love is that the Gen Xer was born to be the rebel. That's the first real generation to rebel against all of this post-World War structure. The boomers kind of went like, "Oh, I think I'm really brave when I say no." But the Gen Xers were like, not even no, but oh, hell no, I'm not doing that, right? So what happens is within family structures, we have families falling apart. We have moms going to work. We have kids who are left to their own defenses at home. We have education systems that either fit or don't fit. We have religious, financial, employment structures that are just being shattered as this generation started shifting through our culture. Now, all of the Gen Xers are what 45 to 55, 40 to 55, some I didn't do my math before I started, sorry. But you know how old you are, and you know that you've got kids. You may have young kids, you may have teens, you may have older kids, depending on when you started. There's lots of variances there because nothing is the norm, right? So the thing that I do is I go, this generation, interesting, was held the longest period of time that Chiron holds one generation for 9 years, and it does it in Aries. And Aries was 1968 to 1977. So this generation X is embedded with Chiron in Aries. Now, Aries is a sun sign. Aries is the primary purpose of Aries is I am. Right? I am. This is who I am in context. I'm on earth. This is what I'm going to do. And you have to sort of establish what's my identity? Who am I going to be? And the weakness or the wound with Chiron in Aries is reactivity, which is I'm going to have a reaction to the world out there. I'm going to have a reaction to your face. I'm going to have a reaction to your words. I'm going to have a reaction to something I watch in TV. And that fire, whoa, is just going to come up and boil, right? And so that reactivity is based on high levels of sensitivity and empathic and psychic skills, which we know are embedded also within the Gen Xers, right? And there's other reasons for that. But the reactivity. So the challenge is to switch or to navigate from reactivity into responsiveness. Okay. Um, Whew, this is the biggest challenge is to address reactivity because it shows up in our in temperament. It shows up in the ability to walk away from jobs, to get into arguments with our children, with everything, right? So the other part of this Generation X is that they were also embedded with the first wave of frequency upgraders, the Indigos. Now, I wrote a book about this, and I've had several series in talking about this, the Indigo. And if you haven't read the book, I think it would give you a good context of what to do with these flares, what to do with these changes. And you can get the link down below, right? So the Indigo is a warrior of light, which means that they came in, they were masters called from all over, came in incarnations to hold a light, right? They're here to dismantle the old, to relinquish or break the control that has been holding Earth in a certain way. And they carry the blue rays. So they carry two different frequencies with them. One is the blue ray, which is the vibration of light and sound. And the second is the sapphire codes of light. Now, the sapphire codes of light hold truth and justice, the sacred energy of truth and justice. So, what happens with the indigo is that they come in with this this powerful internal um, what's the word I want to use? Propensity, or there's no way that they can't ignore truth when it has been hidden from them, when it has been when someone lies or paves over the truth. It's almost as if they, because of these light codes, they know what the truth is. When they catch you lying or they catch you manipulating, they react, right? And so with this indigo energy, they don't have the ability to yield, which is no, I'm not going to do that. No, I'm going to take down this system. I'm going to take down this job. I'm going to report my boss. I'm going to leave this marriage. I'm going to get in the face of my kids. I'm going to do things because I cannot yield. So I don't know. Is it the generation? Is it Chiron? Is it indigo? Or is it all of it? Now, not everybody in Generation X is indigo. However, if you were born between 68 and 77, you're going to have Chiron. There's no doubt about that. So you're going to have to deal with fire and where it shows up as oppression, suppression, fighting back, rebellion, reactivity, estrangement, all of those things that come with fire being activated, right? So these flares are carrying light codes that are here specifically to activate our systems. And these codes, when they hit the Generation X, it comes out as strength. We become much stronger in who we are. We start to look around and go, oh no, I'm not doing this anymore. This is not the world that I want to be a part of. There's a refusal to yield. There's the inability to compromise. There's this absolute stopping the patriarchal cultures and institutions from growing. There's a reaction to authority. The systems in place that are faulty, old, degrading systems like our IRS, our government system, our education system, our mental health systems. These are the things that are just going to start collapsing, right? So activating all of that right now. So if you're a Gen Xer, you're going to see your world spinning around a bit. Now, I have 7 tips for you today. And what I want to keep in mind is that this is the stuff I've been coaching. I've steered my coaching practice from parent-child relationships into parent-child's familial ancestral lineage, Chiron, Gen Xers. And so if you want to identify what this role that Chiron's playing, what your gifts are, and how to integrate them or how to stop being so reactive, I'm your girl. Give me a call. You can message me or contact me. There's stuff down here in the description below. Now, okay, these flares are going to be incredibly impactful to you as Generation Xers because you already hold codes within you that are now being activated and expanded. So you can't stop that through the indigo, right? Already have relationships with fire and reactivity that you've been developing since you were in your toddler years. And so that fire and reactivity is already in you. And embedded in there also are these great strengths and skills and courage that you have to bring things forward. So there are 7 tips I have for you as to how you would do this work that you're here to do. Okay, first tip, whether you believe in flares or not, start tracking them. Anytime you catch yourself being overly agitated or something's off or you're noticing a reaction in somebody else that didn't seem to flow with what was going on, go check and see if they're flares. You can go to, and there's resources down below also, right? Check on the solar flares, find out and become conscious of the connection between, oh, that happened and this is what's going on in me or in the people around me. It doesn't have to be just you. It could be the people around you, your pets, your kids, your partner, your colleagues, your friends. Number 2, partner with yourself. If you feel off or agitated or you've been having a series of sleepless nights, take care of yourself. This is where we increase our hydration. We take magnesium, we rest, we build in times to just kind of catch up. If I'm not sleeping at night, I'm going to need to have some downtime during the day because something's got to give, right? We create sleep, we create rest, we create time outside. We put our feet in the grass or in this case in the snow and stand outside, right? We ground and we nurture ourselves. So we partner and nurture with ourselves. Number 3, learn about breath work. Learn about how to use your solar plexus, Tiphareth in the tree of life. How to bring the breath out in, expand, and how to Take it out and use the breath to create pauses. These pauses are where your skill sets start to come in, right? So it's shift out of being sped up and reactive and oh no, oh no, oh no, and go into pauses that you can become a little bit more calm, right? Number 4, when you take these pauses or when you slow down or when you actually do the deep self-care, these instinctive images, intuitive, start to come in, and you realize that you have these psychic intuitive abilities and you've always had them, and that you have really great skills that can come to the surface when you're calm, when you're not in reactivity, push, push, push forward, over scheduled, doing what Gen Xers do. There's psychic, intuitive skills there that need to be seen by you, right? They're your wisdom inside. So that calmness isn't just because it's time to rest. It's that you're trying to harness something that you were born with and that you have within you, right? Number 5, explore where you're pushing. Explore where you just can't stop and you're in reaction a lot, all the time. Whether it's family history, whether it's ancestral lineage that's being activated, whether it's something about your worth or your productivity or like your intelligences. Find out where you get reactive and you start to push, because these are going to be where your fears are, but they're also going to tell you where it is that you can take them and flip them into pause and respond, right? Number 6, I'm going to say it over and over and over again. Explore your Chiron. Chiron has so much information to give you. Chiron is going to have a sign. It's also going to have the house. The house is going to hold the element. The element of Aries is fire. You want to know what your strengths are within that fire. What is it that you are really kick ass about and know how to do? Okay. And number 7, have compassion. Have compassion for yourself, for those who are in your peer group, for the people who interact with you on a daily basis, because you as a Gen Xer with all of these light codes, with all of these purposes embedded in you, are going to be hit the hardest. I'm here to help. Please reach out and let me know if I can be of service to you. This is what I do. So, look in the description, see if there's go back through the previous videos, drop me a message if you have questions, put comments here, like and subscribe, do whatever you need to do, because next week, I'm going to do solar flares in the millennials, and that's a completely different perspective. You have a good Sunday, and I will see you next week. Take care.